Hi, I'm Don. Today we have another quick Warpaints Fanatic recipe video. Today I'll share with you my recipe in the painting of the gold non-metallic metal over Zenithal Prime of this Stormcast Eternals miniature. The full and longer video tutorial of this project is at Patreon as usual. But I do hope you like the shorter recipe video. Hi, I'm Don. Welcome to my channel. This channel is supported by all these awesome brands. Also, special thanks to the Army Painter for making this video possible. I did the Zenithal with black primer with spray can, and then eventually I used my airbrush and used gray and eventually white, matte white from Warpaints Air to finish off the Zenithal. I also applied a quick, really thin matte varnish using Warpaints Fanatic. I don't usually paint gold or any non-metallic metal over Zenithal Prime. I usually paint my non-metallic metallics, non-metal metallics over black primer. However, in this video, you'll see that the Zenithal Prime will make the painting of the gold NMM easier. Like I said, I am most comfortable painting non-metallic metal over black primer, simply because the painting process is much more linear. The painting process is much more linear simply because you paint the darker colors on top of the black primer, dark browns or even orange browns, and then you simply build up towards the highlights. However, layering from black primer and using a lot of paints, well, the same amount of paints that I use here but layering it towards the highlights can be very time consuming. Also, a good thing about doing a Zenithal Prime with all of the miniatures, all of the other units, is that I have the option to paint the other units with speed paints. And now you could see in the video, because of the Zenithal Prime, it was so easy to paint the base colors on the miniature. Also, we use the Zenithal Prime or Zenithal underpainting as our loose guide as we paint the base color. So the Zenithal Prime kind of gives you a nice idea on where to paint your highlights. Now, once you're finished with the painting of the base, the faintish yellow and the dried brown on the shade areas of the miniature, it's a matter of just layering up towards the highlights. At this point of the painting process, it feels like painting over black primer too, because it's layering, basic layering towards the highlight colors, the lighter colors, but you kind of sped up the painting of the base colors since you painted bright yellows on top of the zenithal. Now you could see me use our brighter base color to make sure that this will be the foundation for our highlighting later. Now we use Afterglow, which is a very unique color from the Warpaints Fanatic line. This is from the Vibrant Greens Triad. If you don't have this color, you could simply use Ice Yellow, which is the typical, or shall we say standard color, standard pre-highlight color for gold non-metallic metal painting. However, I like Afterglow a little bit than Ice Yellow because the color feels a little more vibrant. However, similar to Ice Yellow, Afterglow is the perfect pre-highlight color before you paint your final highlights. Now we are painting the final highlights of the gold NMM. I'm using white matte and I thinned it down a little bit more than usual. Paint white to a minimum to create more volume to your painting. If you are comfortable with fat and thin glazes, I recommend you use glazes to add shades to your painting. However, if you want faster process like what you see in the video right now, you can simply use washes. Normally, I start with light colored washes to add very subtle color depth and then move towards darker washes to push the contrast. You may also use speed paints, thin down with speed paint medium so that the speed paint will act a little bit more like a wash. And you apply this similar to how you apply washes. Also notice that I apply the washes like pin washes. Like I only apply them in smaller areas where I want the washes to be. Multiple layers of washes letting dry in between layers will give you the best results. Now, before our final thoughts, I would like to thank all of you guys, my viewers. The channel is growing, and of course, my patrons. And special thanks to Army Painter for making this video possible. I'm getting more and more comments and messages to paint with speed paints with some of my painting videos. So I will have like a recipe video on gold NMM using speed paints very soon. Now you saw in this video, especially for gold NMM, that painting NMM or gold or yellows on top of Zenithal makes the painting much more faster. This process of painting gold NMM over Zenithal Prime is perfect, especially if you don't have Warpaints Fanatic, because other brands doesn't have the same coverage as Warpaints Fanatic. You may also tweak this recipe in terms of how much highlighting you want by adding or by painting more shade areas. I'm thinking of painting the rest of the unit again with speed paints, but I want it to look a little bit darker. So stay tuned so that you could see that process and the painting video very soon. It's very important to note that the Zenithal Prime at the start of the video was very loosely done. I just simply painted white matte from the top of the miniature. But if you have very good control with the airbrush, you could really fine tune your Zenithal so that you could paint really nice highlights with your airbrush. By doing that, especially if you paint with speed paints, you have very nice, like a very nice guide to painting where the highlights should be, and this will make your painting of gold NMM faster and more efficient. Needless to say, painting gold NMM over Zenithal Prime is a little bit faster than the usual build up and painting over black primer. So I highly recommend you try this process on a Stormcast Eternal or any miniature that has gold armor. It may not look very important like the washes, but the washes help push the contrast and the color depth of the painting of this miniature. So it may not look like in the video, but I highly recommend you do multiple layers of washes. Make sure that you let dry in between layers and really build up that shading. Now, if you want a more saturated look, more saturated than my painting, you could simply glaze fluorescent paint yellow in between the highlights and the base color. That's it, Pansit. I hope you like this video. Do like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And until my next video, guys. Bye! If you like this recipe video, do check out these other videos.